Welcome to our Flipping Finance Innovators and Communities. We are so happy that you've all been able to join us today for our 4th annual Flipping Finance event. We need to take just a moment this morning to give a special thanks to all of our dedicated sponsors. Year after year, we have been able to count on them, and their support has made this event today possible. So please join me in thanking Indie Design Collaborative, Ash Interactive, Baird, Barnes & Thornburg, Bondry Consulting, Bose McKinney & Evans, Crossroads Bank, First Merchants Bank, Frost Brown Todd, Hall Render, Ice Miller, Jam Productions, JP Morgan Chase, Key Bank, Maverick Energy Consulting, Mesereau Financial, Raymond James, Regions Bank, Stifel, Swap Financial, and U.S. Bank. We would not be here today with all of them. Thank you all again for coming.
All right, thank you, Marissa. Thank you again to our sponsors. Can I get a quick round of applause for all our sponsors? I mean, what an amazing venue. This is the first time we've been at the Indianapolis Arts Center. So welcome, everyone. We are so excited to have you. Welcome to our live stream folks who could not be here in person but are joining us. Virtually, it's the first ever Bond Bank live stream, so I'm sure we've just blown the internet up. If you can't get on any websites, you can blame us later. Oh my gosh, seriously, thank you. I want to thank, while we're thinking about thank yous, Marissa from our team, who has probably just come back out to getting last minute registrants. Marissa worked with our sponsors, was the friendly face at the registration table. Here she comes in the back of the room. Thank you, Marissa from our team. Ron and Aaron lingering in the back. Aaron's with the camera. Ron, they've just, all the things you see set up around here, just the little touches, Ron and Aaron from our staff here at the Indiana Bond Bank have helped make it possible. And then last but not least, Brian Carmen from our team. Brian joined the Bond Bank when the Flipping Finance Challenge was a vision scribbled on a piece of maybe napkin paper or something of like, hey, we should do this like hackathon creative problem solving thing. And Brian took it and brought it to life 4 years ago, and every year just continues to elevate our game. And so that's our entire team. That's the whole Bond Bank staff. There's 5 of us. So just if you'd quickly join me thanking them for everything they do. Could not be more blessed just in this time as with the pandemic, as we reflect who we work with and how we spend our time, to be surrounded daily by these fine people. So whew. With that, also want to, gosh, I want to thank Treasurer's Office, Ryan Locke from the Treasurer's Office. He's the one holding the infant in the back. The Treasurer is, I think the Bond Bank is a state agency. The Treasurer sits on our board. She chairs our board, in fact, and she's the one who first said, yes, do this. I don't know if I understand what you guys are talking about, but go ahead and do this and spend money, put a Flipping Finance Challenge together. And she has even doubled down this year by creating the first ever statewide award for innovation in public finance that she will be presenting. So it's a Best in Show award that's never existed before. So I want to thank the State Treasurer and the State Treasurer's Office for the support for the event. And so I had some things to say this morning, but then as I was driving and I saw snowflakes on my windshield, like it took me back to another like very eventful time, stressful time in my life. And I thought, oh, this might be kind of relevant. So this was back in October. But it got really unseasonably cool, and like it was snowing in October, and it had been a beautiful week the week before, and I was getting ready to go on my first date with this girl. And so I got everything planned out. I'm really thinking it through, get everything together. And it's just one of those things, you're stressed out, you're nervous. Maybe some of you are, don't really know what you're getting into, kind of excited. And the weather's crappy. And so like this is like seared into my memory, what happens after this. And so I've got everything planned and borrow my roommate's car, I didn't have any money, all this stuff. And so we're walking to the car. We get in, and my date turns to me and she says, "Thanks, that was really fun." I was like, dang, I mean, I knew this probably wouldn't go well, but that's faster than like, whoo, we only made it like 2 minutes and the date's already like, so it was like whoever had the roommate ticket of like the over under of 2 minutes wins that. I was like, no, like that's not the date. Like we didn't just walk to the car and get in and like, no, there's a real date. And she's like, no, it's not your roommate's gold Saturn that we're in. It's like, yeah, really tacky and stuff. But it's like, I want to just say thank you for this amazing date that you put so much thought into, that's so creative, that's so uniquely you. And I had a great time. Just thank you. I had a great time. And like that, just immediately it's like, oh my gosh, that was so gracious and amazing. And so my wife now still says that to me, like when we go on dates, she'll say, thank you. I had a great time before we even get going. And so I want to turn around and give that gift to you, to all our innovators who may be new, nervous, scared, have the same sweat pit stains that I had that day, not knowing how this is going to go. Thank you for delivering solutions that are uniquely you, that our communities would not have had without you. They are amazing. They are creative. They are so special. And thank you for just sharing your gifts with us. And that's really what this event is all about from the very beginning, is just ordinary Hoosiers coming together in the spirit of the common good to create solutions that are unique, that our communities will take back and run with. And so on that note, we are so excited to have this year a number of not only communities, I keep saying communities, but we have a state entity. So we've got a whole cybersecurity. We're going to fix all cybersecurity over this 2-week period. Yes, Shatrice will figure out what to do next with our lives, right? So there we go. And we've got a bond bank program because we thought, gosh, after all these years and seeing all the innovation for the first 3 years, why not put one of our own programs to the test? And so we have changed the event dramatically over 2 weeks, having expanded, going 2 weeks instead of the and reaching out. I saw Manchester. We've got the Purdue Fort Wayne, I think, brought the entire university here. We've got, right, I saw Kelly. There's just, it's so cool. And that outreach didn't happen without our steering committee. And if you're in business, sometimes the word committee means nothing gets done. That's code for like nobody does anything. But our steering committee was made up of people who had been part of the event the first 1, 2, 3 years. And they said, we love this event. Let us help you make it better. We were all kind of shouldering a lot here at the Bond Bank. And so I want to recognize our steering committee members for finding us this space, for bringing you all in, for just making us better. So I saw Angie Stino was here. Angie's in the back. Thank you, Angie. Elizabeth, right in front of Angie Cole. Thank you. Matt. Yeah, Matt. Gosh, everybody's on this side. Let's just turn this way. Rob Dunning, are you on this? Rob, you're on the wrong side, man. Come on. Heidi Leonard and Barry Grossman could not be here. Is there anybody else I'm forgetting from the steering committee? I think that's... Yep. And so without further ado, you do not need to hear from me. You're here to hear from our communities and our state agencies and our Maverick Energy Consulting on the fuel program. So I will turn everything over to them, but the Bond Bank team, whether it's Ron and Aaron, Brian, myself, Marissa, if you need anything to make this event better throughout this period of the 2 weeks, reach out to any of us and let us know. And I think we'll talk later about, over the course of the 2 weeks, we've got 9 daily lunch and learns, so 1-hour segments to provide continuing content to you throughout the event. So whether you want to pop in this first week, it's going to be all about things that help your solutions get made and get better. So sessions on ideation, breaking through, getting through the doldrums of like, we're stuck. Sessions that John's going to do even yet this afternoon on pitching and, you got a great idea. How do you sell it? And then that second week after you've turned your solutions in, we're providing some kind of career style content. How do you break into an industry? How do you network if you don't like networking? I think one session is called Kryptonite at the Office. So how not to be that guy or gal of Kryptonite at the office. So really excited to provide that content over the course of the 2-week period. But right now, let's bring up our communities. And I think our first community is Jay County. Jay County joins us. Jay County is a returning Flipping Finance Challenge participant from 2020, our February 2020 event. We slid right in there before everything just went sideways. So, Jay County, I'm going to turn it over to them, and they are back for more.
It's time. After leading another successful United Way of Jay County campaign, while also being on limited sleep with a new baby, I need a break. Of course, I'll always be here when truly needed, and I'll be back to kick off another United Way campaign in the fall. But for now, I'm out. It's a good thing I had those superhero interns training under me for these last few months. I'm sure they can handle the job in my absence.
I'm taking all the cups except the extra large soda. Everybody has to drink that sugary pop.
Corbin, man, put the cups back. You're making the kids drink extra soda that they don't need. They already drink way too much.
I could care less what you think. You can't keep up with me. Look at the shape you're in. I'm taking them anyhow. You'll never catch me, Carb Lord! Come back, Corbin, man.
Oh, I'm too out of shape to do this anymore.
I used to be on the East J team, but now that the middle schools have merged, there's no time for me anymore.
Man, that's whack. It's the same with choir, band, and student council.
I'm bold, there's nothing left to do.
You don't need those lame activities. Come vape with me in the streets. That's what all the cool kids are doing.
Not so fast, bad habit. You're not going to corrupt these kids.
I have this great idea for a business, but I don't have anywhere to start it.
I'm sorry, but buildings are just really hard to come by right now. The downtown destroyer is running unchecked through Jay County cities and towns. He's been making a mess of the buildings that we could use for these small business startups. We really don't fully understand his motives, but he's been doing it for years and no one's really standing in his way.
Why isn't anyone stepping up to stop him?
The one that should be dealing with this has been more worried about our industries than our small businesses. If only the smokestack widow would get out at our industrial parks more often.
We have all this money. We got $4 million from the American Rescue Plan Act. We have millions from the solar and wind farm developments, not to mention everything we get from the economic development income tax every year. What are we going to do with it all?
You know, we could look at creating additional childcare options for families in Jay County.
Or we could fix up downtown buildings to try and attract more business.
You know, we could even use it to maybe incentivize more housing development.
You know, those are all good ideas, but I think that we need to really figure out how we can use these dollars to sustain one of those programs.
Not so fast, government goody-goodies. I'm here to waste your money.
We don't know what to do. We don't know what to do. We don't know what to do.
Don't worry, government pals. I'll find the antidote and make sure that we spend that money wisely. Oh no! It's too late! The money's wasted!
Let's welcome up Jay County. That was their first 5 minutes. They got 5 more minutes to talk to you about their challenges. Woo!
Clearly, we need help. All right, so we come to you today with multiple challenges. First up, what the health is going on. So Jay County suffers from well above state averages on a lot of health outcomes, thinking about smoking rates, obesity, heart disease, even opioid use. So with the large populations of individuals that work in manufacturing, there are cultural things that really prevent us from fixing some of those things. Even our own carb lord just can't keep up.
So what we're challenging you guys for is we need help with figuring out options as far as our health is depleting. We have oversized people. You know, we're getting bigger as things go on. We don't have as many activities for people to do. And just getting the community to buy into the local gym or whatever else it would be. So we challenge you guys to come up with some unique ideas to help us out with that.
Yep. So how do we get people to invest in their health? What can we do to slow the smoking rate? How can we encourage better eating habits? And what can help make our residents more active? All right. Second up, smells like teen spirit. All right. So about 40 or 50 years ago, Jay County, all the schools in the county consolidated into one school corporation. Now last year, they did even further consolidation and merged the 2 junior highs that we have into one middle school at the high school level and closed a few elementary schools. So now there are less opportunities for students to get engaged and learn about youth leadership. And as you can see, our Kids Crusader needs help.
Our challenge is to how do we get youth more involved to learn some of those leadership skills to help out the community.
So things like, are there specific clubs, organization activities that we should introduce? How do we get more kids involved? How do we get them interested? And are there ways to plug in our local high schoolers and junior highs to our government, our civic courses, our boards, our commissions? Even beyond school age, we have trouble with younger folks serving in our government positions. Next up, starting up. We have a very diverse set of industries, but historically we lag in small business. Think 20 employees or less, and that's creation and retention. So we've taken a few steps over the last couple of years. We have built a relationship with the Small Business Development Center. We have launched a pitch competition starting last year for small businesses, and that was great. We do have some local funds available. However, our smokestack widow needs advice on what to do next.
So our challenge for you today is to help us build an ecosystem that encourages and supports entrepreneurs in all phases of their business development.
So things like access to other forms of capital. What is not within Jay County's borders that's available to us? Also, is there physical space? You saw some of our downtown buildings are in rough shape, and that's where businesses are typically started. And then also, what can we do to mentor? Is there a support system that we can create to help our entrepreneurs? Last up, the dimes, they are a-changin'. So you heard about the money that we have coming in. This is kind of two parts. We have edit funds, economic development income tax. That is an every year revenue. Wouldn't you know, I ran over time. All right, so thinking about the money that we have edit funds, we have renewable projects that are, the way those have all been worked out, it's a phase-in in taxes for economic development payments. So we have a multi-million-dollar fund coming in over the next several years through that. We have American Rescue Plan funds. We were designated as a help community through Okra, which is another $1 million in match. So thinking about how can we be strategic here? And as you saw, our fiscal falcon was too late. How can we go back in time and fix this so that our county elected officials can make good decisions?
Yes, we challenge you as outsiders of our community to think strategically about our funds because we're in the middle of it. So sometimes we can't see things that are right in front of us. So that's our challenge to you.
So how do we create a plan? What's the best path forward there? How do we get everybody engaged? Everybody has blind spots. How do we make sure we engage with all segments of the population? And be strategic, knowing that these are one-time funds. So we want to be really smart about how we use these. So, in summary, we need your help. Please, please help Jay County.
Wow. So keep an open mind still. We've got a few more to pitch you, and that is City of Jasper starting up next. City of Jasper joined us last year when we were 100% virtual. We did a virtual board game for those of you who participated. City of Jasper is in DuBois County, and they are here led by Mayor Dean Vonderheide and his team. And again, the neat thing, regardless of your sweet spot, your talent, your team's superpowers, you're going to get challenges that are 100% purely fiscal, some communications, some other strategic challenges, all phrased in that language of how might we. And I know Mayor speaks how might we really well. Mayor?
Well, thank you. Okay. Thank you for being here, the City of Jasper. We got 4 projects, and we really hope you take each of them in consideration. I do have to take just 10 seconds and say that yesterday we received word that the City of Jasper won the strongest town competition, and that was an international. So we're pretty proud of that, but it is because we reach out and try to get a lot of other people involved. So our first one, Tom Mormon with the Park Department.
Hello, everybody. Again, like you said, I'm Tom Mormon. I'm the Park Director of Jasper. We have today, for the win, we're going to try to repurpose a 9-hole golf course. It hasn't been used in a couple of years. Alvin Ruxer donated this 62.88 acres of land to the City of Jasper, and the 9-hole executive golf course and driving range opened on that land in 1993. This property is in a floodway adjacent to the Patoka River. 2019 was the final year of the golf course on that property. That year the course didn't open until July because of the flooding. This property has been vacant over the last couple of years, seeing minimal maintenance such as bush hogging. The cart paths are concrete and meander throughout the property still. The land is located to the river, next to the Riverwalk, a 2.1 mile paved walking trail. The property has approximately 2 of its acres housing a 3,000 square foot building and a large asphalt parking lot. This leaves about 60 acres of blank slate for the property. Dirt cannot be brought in or removed, but it may be moved around in the property according to DNR approval. Some ideas that the park department as well as the public has had for this includes a disc golf course, a lot of demand for this and potential sponsorship for each of the holes, an archery range, campgrounds, bocce ball in the driving range area. It's a nice flat spot. Stocked fishing pond, dig out part of that area and use the excess dirt to protect that from the river flooding. Dog park or a dog walking area. Skate park by the parking lot area. Continuation of the river walk. Kayak launch point for the Padoka River. Wetlands mitigation area. We look forward to hearing all of your ideas and how to utilize the acreage in such a way that maintenance is held to a minimum and activities that will increase the quality of life for our citizens. Thank you very much.
All right, great. My name is Renee Kabrick, and I am going to present to you our Frogger Challenge. We need to figure out a way to move pedestrians safely across a highway that divides what I call our pedestrian triangle. In the last 10 years or so, the city of Jasper has really invested heavily in planning. We've created our Impact Jasper comprehensive plan, our Focus Forward Jasper multimodal transportation plan, a downtown and riverfront master plan, and we participated in the Du Bois County Bike and Pedestrian Master Plan. All of those plans have resulted in a huge amount of investment in the downtown and riverfront area, which of course was the goal. We have, the city of Jasper itself has invested very heavily in those areas as well. You can see on the slide the Tim Clark Cultural Center, which is a project that joined our Jasper Public Library and the city of Jasper's own arts department. We have the 2022 project coming on board. We are investing about $5 million into the revitalization of our downtown Courthouse Square. And then we have a group called the Redevelop Old Jasper Action Coalition who have invested time, money, and energy into assets such as the Jasper Mill, Spirit of Jasper Excursion Train, the Train Depot, Alexander Schoolhouse, Schaefer Barn, and the Riverwalk. These assets bring thousands of visitors to our riverfront area annually. Also, in recent years, this investment by both the city and the RoJack, we call them, have also spurred investment in downtown residential units. So we have a 80-plus apartment complex in the River Center, and coming on board in 2022 and 2023 are the Library Square with 18 condos and the Stewart Hotel with another 18 apartments. And those projects are really bringing residents back to the downtown area to reactivate the area. In addition, we recently, in the last year and a half or 2 years, have brought on board a Main Street organization called the Heart of Jasper. And between the Heart of Jasper and the Greater Jasper Downtown Business Merchants, private investment in entertainment and retail projects is re-energizing our downtown and riverfront area. So some quick stats. With all of the development that I've just mentioned, we have approximately 12,000 shoppers that visit our downtown retail shops annually. Over 128,000 visitors go through the Jasper Public Library annually. Over 36,000 visitors go through the Jasper Community Arts Center, and at least we have 81 residential units downtown right now with the new units that I mentioned. We've got about 3,000 patrons annually to the Spirit of Jasper Train and Train Depot. And then the challenge, we've got about 12,000 vehicles going through the intersections, the pedestrian intersections daily. And so our conclusion from all of that is that we have more people than ever before moving through what we call the pedestrian triangle between the Courthouse Square, the River Center, and the Cultural Center. So that's our challenge to you. How can we move those pedestrians safely across that highway and efficiently so that we can have a cultural experience for everyone in that area? Hope you join us in trying to solve that challenge.
Hello, my name is Darla Blasey. I'm the planning director for the city of Jasper, and today the challenge I'm going to talk to you guys about is outdoor fitness and activity park. I love the slogan, retired but not tired. So we're going to talk about the Beeler Park. And it's a 3-acre park. It's at the intersection with 25th Street and Howard Drive, kind of on the northwest side of Jasper. It's in a neighborhood that's a mix of uses. So there are single-family homes, there's apartments down the street. But what's really unique is that we have 3 senior retirement communities that are all within a quarter of a mile from the park. So that's one of the reasons for that title, Retired But Not Tired. We also have a child care facility that's about a third of a mile from there. So this is a visual overview of the park and kind of give you an orientation of those 3 senior communities that we talked about. In total, they have about 269 units that make up those 3 communities. The park currently has picnic area, playground, shelter house, lighted tennis courts, a ball field with backstop, hard surfaced area with basketball courts, and we're wanting to take that to the next level. So these are just a few ideas, and we can't wait to hear what you guys come up with from the challenge. But we're envisioning fitness stations for seniors that are available, oversized games, and potentially outdoor tables for ping pong or other games. A multi-surface courts that could accommodate a wide range of uses such as shuffleboard, tennis, pickleball, basketball, and other activities. And in the end, we envision a community park for people of all ages, a place where grandparents and grandchildren will experience those activities together, that they can walk from their homes or their communities to the park, and it'll be a place for wellness and a place to gather. So that's this program. Thank you.
And last but not least, I'm going to talk about the Du Bois County Museum. This is a real, I think you went backwards. This is a real asset to the community. We have issues with it, and the fact that they had a grant, it was a 3-year grant, $50,000 a year, in order to hire a director. And at the end of that, it was kind of, you had to fund it for the future years, and they weren't able to do that. So they had to cut the director's role out. It's a really critical part of tourism as it comes to Jasper. So what we're looking for is the donations that we can accomplish going into the museum. You can see the location here as it sits on one of our main roads going through town. We call that Newton Street, or it's on 231, Highway 231. It is not located in the heart of Jasper down here where the intersections are, where we just talked about some of those assets. It is closer to Beeler Park, which is out at that direction. But the museum, it's been around for a number of years. It's a huge factory that was donated to the Du Bois County Museum years ago. And at that time, you know, donation, we're looking for a place to start. We went into this. It's much larger than we need. You know, we store many exhibit items in there. We do not exhibit them. But it has been recognized as one of the best small town museums in the region. The admissions, there's figures there on what the admissions are as far as the revenue plan for the museum, and then I've also got on the expense side of it, the next one. And you can see utilities are fairly high, but that's because we're having to take care of some spaces that we're not necessarily using. We do lease out part of the property. The museum is run by a board of directors. It's a nonprofit organization, and their funding has been limited. Their scope of fundraising has been limited. And I just was in a meeting with them 2 months, and just before we had to submit these challenges 2 months ago, felt like there's got to be more we can do to preserve this museum as an asset for the city of Jasper and Du Bois County. So I'm asking for your help, coming up with some kind of creative ways for fundraising to be able to support the museum. You can see some of the exhibits here. We actually have, it's a twin cabin structure inside that factory. And just wonderful exhibits. If you're ever in Jasper, Indiana, you have to stop by the Du Bois County Museum. So take a good look at this challenge and all of our challenges. We hope you come back with some great ideation. I know you will. Thank you.
Thank you, City of Jasper, and congratulations again on the honor bestowed on you yesterday. That's fantastic. So part of what might be going on right now is you came in thinking, oh, I was thinking about A, B, or C, and then maybe something that J County or Jasper said has piqued your interest. What you'll have an opportunity to do after all this, as Brian cues up our next presenter, is after this you'll have a chance to go out, and there's sign-up sheets down straight directly, like straight shot north. To the left, there's a little coffee bar area, and there's some sign-up sheets. And that's a chance for you to get consultation time with each of these communities. And you don't have to just pick one. If you're kind of between a couple of challenges and you want to talk to Community A and Community B and just get a feel for, okay, what have you thought of or tried? You've heard some ideas already from Jasper of things they thought of, but dive a little bit deeper to make a decision on what you want to pick. So following all these presentations, you'll get a chance to actually sit down face-to-face and interact with these communities and really make a selection. And so next up, we are so excited. Rick Anderson is here from Winfield. In Winfield, Rick, I think, is much like many of you probably. He heard about Flipping Finance Challenge for the first time this year. We called him and said, Rick, we've worked with you in the past. We'd love Winfield to join it. I think he probably thought, I'm not really sure I understand what this is, but yes, let's do it. And so we're so excited, Rick, to have Winfield join us and excited to hear about your challenges.
Great to be here. I appreciate being here. So today we have, I have two challenges for you to consider. The first one, it's a bird, it's a plane, and the second is catch us if you can. So I hope you'll consider working on our challenges. But first, a little background. We're located in Northwest Indiana, up near Crown Point. Winfield has consistently been one of the fastest growing communities in Indiana for nearly 30 years. Our town is looking to identify quality of life improvements and develop a more defined identity in order to effectively promote ourselves. Winfield was incorporated in 1993 to avoid annexation by a neighboring community. We're one of the youngest communities in the state of Indiana. At the time of incorporation, we were a farming community with a couple of new large lot high-end developments. This is a fair representation of what Winfield looked like in the early 1990s, and this happens to be our most famous local landmark, the tree silo. Very famous, by the way. Some data on our population, just to kind of show you our growth since we were incorporated. Every 10 years, we're roughly doubling. We estimate, given the fact that we've had a really strong growth in approval of residential developments over the last year, and the amount of vacant land, approved platted lots that we have right now, and the growth because we're up in Northwest Indiana in a Collier County or a Collier suburb of Chicago. We believe that we're going to double again in the next 7-8 years. Just to give you an idea of our developments, this is one of our older gated high-end developments with a private lake and walking paths. So a lot of our developments do already have some internal amenities. Another newer development that's single-family patio homes and larger single-family homes. You can see on the left-hand side there is a small neighborhood park in this development that's currently underway right now. In terms of demographics, Winfield has a slightly higher than average median age. However, Our incomes, our home values are significantly higher than state averages, and our household average size is a little bit higher, and we generally have residents that are well educated as well. So our first challenge for you to consider is it's a bird, it's a plane. We're looking for ways to identify quality of life improvements for our residents. Again, we were incorporated fairly recently compared to many other communities in Indiana, and we're looking for ideas beyond what we've already put in place. So right now, some of the things that we have, obviously we have a number of smaller neighborhood parks. This is one of our older neighborhoods. The park equipment has been replaced in the last couple of years on this one. And again, most of these parks will serve between 100 or 200 or maybe 300 homes, and they're generally less than an acre. This is another smaller, younger, geared park facility. This is actually our oldest park, which is close to 30 years old. This one is scheduled to be completely replaced in the next 2 to 3 years. We've got some funding to do that. And finally, our most recent park, we have a 12-acre park, which is our main park. We've invested a lot of money out in this park over the last 5 years. It includes a couple of play activity sets, a pavilion, a pond. It also has ample off-street parking and walking paths. Almost all of our town events are held at this location. And then in terms of events that the town has, our activities include our annual Harvest Fest. Obviously that includes multiple live bands, vendors, kids games, a beer tent. It actually kicks off with this 5K in the morning of the event. Another event that's been real popular over the last 5 years is Movies in the Park. We tend to do that 3 to 5 times a year. We also have spring and fall cleanup days for residents, yoga in the park, Easter egg hunt, car show, and a touch-it truck. So that's our first challenge. Our next challenge is catch us if you can. We're looking for ways to create a more defined identity through updated branding or other creative measures. Winfield is, again, located just east of Crown Point. It's served by Crown Point Public School System and even shares the same zip code as Crown Point, making it really difficult to define our identity as a community. So we're looking for plans to enhance our identity and to put together a marketing plan targeting potential residents as well as residential and commercial developers. Just a couple of quick examples of recent changes. We recently redid in-house, and again, we have a small staff, but in-house we redid our logos. We have installed a large lighted masonry Welcome to Winfield sign at one of our entry points to the town, and then others will be planned to be added in the near future. So what I'd like to do is ask everybody to consider helping Winfield as a new community. We're kind of have a clean slate. We're looking for some outside ideas. They give us some ideas both for quality of life improvements, a plan for that, and then also a plan for updating our logos and identity and marketing ourselves in an effective way. Thank you.
Thank you, Rick. And so, yes, if you want kind of a blue sky, blank slate, if you ever had dreams of creating your own community, this is a perfect opportunity to work with Winfield. The next challenge, you may think, what's a state bond bank, which is designed to finance and assist units of government across the state of Indiana? What are we doing in the cybersecurity space? And as I welcome Shatrice Mosley-Romero up, if you can't tell, we believe in creating solutions. That's why we created this event. And we know units of government, cities, counties, towns, townships, libraries, schools are fighting the cybersecurity fight every day. And we look to ourselves to say, how might we, Bond Bank, assist in that effort? And while we haven't figured out that financial tool to solve things, we have tried to leverage our relationships and our resources. And one of the things we want to do is give the floor to the state's cybersecurity director, Shatrice Mosley-Romero to invite you to help us in the cybersecurity fight.
Hello. I'm already really loud speaking, so I'm going to try not to yell at you. Am I yelling at anybody in the back? All right, it's not all cap up here. It's just me. So I love, oh my gosh, your videos and your presentations are so good. I don't have a presentation or video, which is why I'm here, because I need your help. I'm clearly not the creative type. I'm not the IT person. My background's actually in communications and public relations and business strategy. I work with a lot of really smart IT people, brilliant IT people. Problem is that IT people are not usually the best communicators. So I know it's surprising. And Mark really undersold Indiana Bonds Bank, because I oversee the Indiana Executive Council on Cybersecurity for the state of Indiana. So what does that mean? Much like what Mark had said about usually when you hear state councils or commissions, and I'm not going to look at the cities because I know they'll laugh. It usually means they don't do anything really helpful, especially for local governments. And I say that as a person who's been with the state of India my entire career. I just got bit by the service bug, and I really, really love working on projects that truly make a difference for the entire state. And it's kind of hard not to go away from that after that. It's hard to get into private sector once you've bitten by that bug. And what I find is that in local government, there is a very much in the same way, and you saw that with the other 4 participants. They are up here because they truly love what they're doing. They want to make a difference in their community. And when it comes to cybersecurity, it's an area where it's still kind of new and it's complicated, but it's still very human. So go with me here, and I'm props to City of Jasper. They actually just committed to work with me on a pilot on how we can better work with local governments. So because they did that this week, actually, you don't put your hands up, nor my daughter and David, because they should know better. But the rest of them, everybody raise your hand. Like, just put your hand up, it's really high. Okay, when you hear about a cyber attack that happens on in anywhere, nation or anything, you're the reason why it happens. No offense, I'm sorry to make you feel bad about that, but 90 to 95% of cyber attacks, ransomwares, getting your information happens because of a human error. Because somebody clicked that link, somebody found a USB drive outside and was like, look what's in this, right? Everybody's been tempted, it's okay. So that is our challenge. Our challenge is that it's not a technical problem. It's an operations problem, it's a people problem. And so how do we switch the gears in our heads, including mine? It's taken us years to figure out how do we figure out the foundation and IT technical side. We're good there. There's lots of good solutions. There's amazing solutions out there from a technical perspective, but you can have the best cybersecurity program in the world, and if you don't train your people on how to protect those programs, you're still going to get in. And so that is our challenge. How do we communicate and train local governments across all of the state of Indiana? That's what this project's going to do. How can we provide them something that actually gets them excited and into cyber? I know that's kind of a weird one, right? Now, I did public relations for taxes, so if I can make taxes sexy, I can make cyber sexy. And I know you can too, because I'm definitely not as cool as I was in my 20s. Don't look at my daughter, she'll agree. So when I'm looking at this challenge, and Mark actually, this must be what he works on. I'm not going to say they're bar napkins, but they are napkins. He actually just sent me a text, and he's like, hey, I have this idea, because he's been on our council for many years now, and the state treasurer has as well. And he's like, I'm doing this flipping finance challenge. Why don't we do a cyber track? Because you're trying to figure out some creative solutions on how to do this, and see what people bring up. And there was no beat. I was like, yes, let's do that. I would love to be part of that party. So that's what I'm here for. I'm looking for something that will capture people's attention around cyber hygiene. Don't click the link, how to protect your systems, and can we get people at local government where they don't think it's their job because you're not IT? And how do we get them engaged to say, it's fun, it's something that we can practice, it's something that we can do together. And it needs to be cheap or already made or very low cost, because I am the state of Indiana, and unfortunately, my agency has zero budget. I literally lean on everyone else, which is why I have so many friends. So that, I mean, also your personality is great, yes. And really kind of coming up with these things. Now, I kind of came up with some stats earlier because this is apparently how I prepare for presentations. I'm looking at my darn, I'm like, this is not how you prepare for presentations. No, I'm just kidding. All right, so during this presentation alone, like from the beginning of, hey, we're starting, to the last person who's gonna talk, I believe Maverick Consulting, 327 ransomware attacks have been executed and successful. And this is in local governments, a majority of it now. It's in local governments, small agencies, small communities, small businesses. Bad actors aren't putting their money and their time into the Chase banks anymore. They realize, why do I put all that time into it? They still have a team and they may not work. I should just go for the people who are never gonna have they don't have CIOs, they don't have security experts, and even if they have an IT person, typically they're not specialized in cyber. And that's okay. We're not saying you have to have that. How can we develop solutions, which is what this sounds great, solutions to get them engaged, get people trained, and it's not the same, go through the modules, click the link, oh, okay, I took the test, yes, here's the fish exercise, yes. And I'm a cyber director, and I get those reminders because I'm like, oh yes, cybersecurity training. Oh wait, no, that's me. I do it, because I don't like getting that note from my boss. But I think it's important that we not only say something with our training and teach something in how we protect our systems with people who really do want to protect their systems, but how do we make it interesting? How do we gamify it? How do we market it? You know, it doesn't have to be a gamification. It can be just a really fun, catchy marketing plan. It can be, you know, with good, fun materials that make it lighthearted. Cyber is a lot of doom and gloom, most certainly. You know, just like by the time you go to sleep tonight at midnight, which, you know, is usually around my bedtime, 7,800 have been successful. By the time this challenge is complete, we have almost 110,000 ransomware attacks. Successful ransomware attacks, not the pinging, right? That is concerning when you look at our local governments who are very limited in budget, limited in resources, and they don't have the expertise and train their employees with something that's not going to take a lot of time, it's not going to take a lot of money, and is also going to get through and change behavior. So that's my challenge to all of you. I am here, I am available. David Ayers, he's my communications manager. He is also very receptive. We understand your students. I'm working with 50 or 60 students right now, which means him and I are tag teaming and meeting with them in the evenings. You know, I work for the state, but I don't do the 8 to 5 job because that's just not how cyber works. So my job doesn't work that way either. So anyway, I'm excited to most certainly see what comes of all these amazing projects that you've already heard. I hope that I get a couple of you that pick me because my self-esteem probably can't handle it and none. But I really, really appreciate you guys, and thank you so much for inviting us and being such a good partner. And I can't wait to hear what you guys come up with. So thank you all very much.
Trees. And we have one more. This is, as we said, Bond Bank has a program that we think could use some TLC, and we've got John Rickheimer from Maverick Energy Consulting, who I think when I met John, I didn't know if we'd be friends because John's a sales guy. He's big into like the energy and gas markets, very outgoing. I am not as much a sales guy, pretty introverted, and I fill up my car at the gas station. That's what I know about it. Oil and gas markets. And then, I mean, John's just the most welcoming individual. John, come on up. And John is here. He really helped create this program before I even came along to the Bond Bank. And now, like everything we do, how might we make it better? And so, John, thanks for coming. I'll turn it over to you.
Thanks for having me. And Mark and I are part of a book club. I'm not here to talk about it. You hear me? Not here to talk about a book club, but we've gotten it. I think we are different in a lot of ways, but I think those differences, it's worked out really well. I'm aware of the Flipping Finance Challenge from multiple years we've been a sponsor. This is the first time I'm here presenting a challenge, and I am blown away. And I didn't think I was nervous until I heard all these other pitches. And I'm like, I need a theme song for one, before I come up and all that kind of stuff. Real quick, before I even start, I'm going to be holding, I wouldn't even call it a presentation, but a sales chat dialogue. I hope it's a dialogue, and I think we're going to try to do it in the library section way in the back there. Since I'm here from out of town, I thought let's do it in person versus do it online. I'm old-fashioned that way. I really miss the personal interaction in the last couple of years. Real quick, before I even start the challenge, talking about nerves, and we're going to talk about this in the sales discussion that I have, but there's a great quote that I'm going to paraphrase, is that the amateur feels they must first overcome fear before they can start. The pro knows that fear can never be overcome. There's no such thing as a fearless warrior or a dread-free artist. That's by Stephen Pressfield. And truly, I'm nervous up here. I was nervous because I see all the competition, right? And the last speaker said it, man, what if I have nobody, start our challenge, Quick background on the program itself. So Mark asked, said, hey, this would be a good challenge for Flipping Finance. Well, I've been in the business for 30 years. I helped create this program. It's been in existence for almost 15 years, and it's a great program. I'm not the only one that was involved with it. The Bond Bank and both McKinney Evans are the legal people that are in it. So a lot of people have had a hand in it. But when Mark asked me to do this, I said, I thought this is great because I think a fresh set of eyes is really what's needed here. Because sometimes, I think it was said before, we're so close to it that we can't see the automatic aha, that's there. And this program was inspired about 15 years ago off a natural gas program that my company worked with on school districts who wanted to say, hey, we're protecting our fuel budget for natural gas, but what about diesel in the buses in this case? We said, yeah, why can't we duplicate it? To make a long story short, what we found in the fuel markets for diesel is much different than natural gas and how it works. And if you take this challenge on, we can talk about that, but it's not worth it talking about it right here. The Bond Bank was the only vehicle that could group multiple qualified entities, qualified entity being a school district or a city, town, county, state entity in the state, and group them together. And we had to do what's called a financial transaction to hedge the fuel risk. And so it's a premier program. It beats the alternatives that are out there for a qualified entity to engage in to protect their budget from volatile fuel prices. Yet it struggled in participation. Part of it is because what I'm struggling right now is how much detail to give you. It's the curse of knowledge. I mean, you get down this rabbit hole and it's very complicated, the behind the scenes. But I think what we need help in, there's two challenges. One is the pump it up. We need help in marketing this program. For some reason, we're struggling getting the word out. Traditionally, 7 to 14 participants have been in this program. School districts alone in the state are 400. You could make an argument that all 400 ought to be in there, let alone I haven't done the counting for how many counties, cities, state entities should be involved, but they're not. Part of it because it's complicated. So the first challenge is pump it up. How do we reach more? How do we get the message out there so people at least listen to this option that's there? Part of that challenge could be separate or in addition to. Another challenge that we have within the marketing side is that we would like to get in front of, lack of a better term, more closer to the CFO type than the transportation manager. And what happens is, if we even get to the CFO type, they're listening, boom, they send you down to the transportation department. And it doesn't have to be there. This is a financial solution. So a little background on the program. This is an insurance program to protect against volatile and or rising fuel prices. It acts like insurance. It's not a physical delivery. So the Bond Bank is not out there delivering fuel. They're offering a financial price insurance program for diesel and gasoline. That's been a challenge sometimes too, because you get down to that fleet manager, bond bank, I don't know if they would do a good job at delivering fuel, and they just stop it right there. So those are the two sides on the marketing piece. Then there's more Jumpin' Jack Flash is more of a process orientated piece, and I was talking with one of the bond bank people earlier today where it is a bit cumbersome for reasons to get involved. From a sales perspective, we would love to just be able to go out and talk to an entity and say, if you like the idea, I'm old fashioned again, so I know we don't use these, but you got the three sides, press hard, the last copy is yours. They're inspired, they want to do it, they jump on it right away. There's reasons we can't do that, but we're hoping that some of you all can look at the program, pull it apart, and say, well, how could it be done differently? How could it be more fluid, less cumbersome? We get back to that, see, everything's sales. You get back to the sales piece, even if you get them emotionally bought into the deal, and they see, all this stuff I got to do to get into it. And it really isn't as hard as I make it sound, but sometimes they look at you, and I get the feeling they think it is that hard. How can we simplify it? What I want to show you, I've covered kind of all this, I think, but page down. This I just want to. This is where. So this is the problem, right? So I gave you a background on the program, but this is the problem out there. You see where this is this diesel here, where price is going. Okay, the program that we have right now, the Bond Bank's program, has shielded this first quarter for the participants in there, just on diesel, 63 cents a gallon. The program is a price cap, so an entity that comes into this would pay some cents, 15 cents it is this year, to pledge the type of volume they want protected. That caps their price at a certain level. When the market crashes through that, they get the difference between the market and the cap price. January, February, March, that's been 63 cents on average. So all these entities that aren't in the program, they're spending on average 63 cents more than probably they've budgeted. When everybody's made of money, it doesn't matter, I guess, right? They can slush the money around, but at some point the music stops and it can become a problem. One of the books we read, it was the Making Sense of Numbers or something like that. I can add and subtract and I can do numbers, but it's not really who I am. I really got to sit and focus hard on it. So there's the emotional piece to get people inspired, and then there's the logical piece. So I was just trying to say, well, I just gave you some 63 cents a gallon. I don't know if that means anything. Maybe it does, but so what? What does that mean? So what and who cares? That's always a great question to ask when you're selling something. So I just did back of the napkin. So if you research these numbers, I could be off a little bit. I was rounding and doing back of the napkin. But there's around 400, this is just school districts. Now the program, I'm running over the time maybe. The program is not just for schools, but just look at schools in this case. And this is where we're struggling because it's such a great program. If more were involved, they could protect their budgets and have more money to do a lot of things. In the case of schools, maybe hire more teachers. So 400 school districts, that's about 20 million gallons of diesel throughout the state that's being bought by public schools. That 63 cents is about $4 million across the state just in the first quarter. If this continues, if this market continues going the direction that it's going, you're probably looking at about $16 million over budget. Most probably are, when they budget, they're just taking a guess at what they think the market's going to be and say that's what our fuel expenses will be, and they're going with it. It's not protected. Okay, so it sounds like a lot of money, but so what? Who cares? The average Indiana school teacher salary is $45,000 a year. With just the $4 million shielded in the first quarter, the state could hire 88 more teachers. If this continues for the whole year, they could hire 365 new teachers for the year. So basically a teacher a day. And to put that even more perspective, that would be 365 school teachers would be like adding 2 to 3 new rural school districts just out of thin air and staffing them. So this is the riddle, right? Obviously, I was a part of the program that started this and had the ideas and built it, a lot with the bond bank as well, and a lot of other people along the way. Yet for some reason, it's just not getting traction, and it's very frustrating because when you have something that is of value that you believe in, that you've seen really help entities throughout the past 10, 15 years, and for some reason, it's just not getting the traction. So I hope that we have some on the marketing piece. I hope it's really weird, you know, something out there just really blows us away. On the process piece, you know, maybe you'll see something that is just obvious that we can simplify this, because hand in hand with better marketing and a better process, I think we can get more qualified entities, school districts, counties, cities, towns, state entities, into this program, and not only budget, but protect that budget and have money for other things. If you're a school, you're a teacher, and you know, some of the municipalities we saw up there for those programs as well, when you're not having to pay more and blowing budgets. So thank you. I hope that I've inspired enough of you to help us, because we really do need the help. You know, Henry Ford said, don't find fault, find remedy. So I guess that's more saying to myself, and I'm hoping that somebody here or a group of you is the remedy to help us really ignite this program and bring it double, triple, maybe get it throughout the state. So thanks for your time.
Thank you, John, and thank you again. Just one round of applause for all our challenge owners. So we are going to cut our challenge owners loose so they can get a little bit of food in them, and we're going to give them about 25 or 30 minutes just to go out, eat. So please, challenge owners, feel free to do that, and just so they don't get swarmed immediately and get a few bites of food in, feel free to do that. And as I do that, I want to open it up just for general questions. We've got some past innovators. Just have a short opportunity, just kind of an innovator panel while we give our community some time to go do their thing. And after we do the innovator panel, we'll release you for lunch. There are sign-up sheets to then go talk to our challenge owners. And then the time from there is really unstructured. It's you interacting. If you need to find a team, if you're here as an individual, and want to find another like-minded individual, join a team, we can help you with that. And so, Matt, would you jump up and join us? Rob, do you mind joining us? Ingrid, do you mind coming up? See some of our past innovators. And maybe we'll just start as they make their way up. What is super confusing, or where have we lost anybody? Any questions about anything? This is a perfect time. So Matt has done it last year. You participated. Rob has been here every year. Ingrid has been here every year. We've had some work individually, some work as teams. What questions can we answer for you? Everybody knows what's going on. Yes. Yes, solutions are due. Yep. Yeah, absolutely. So I will talk about the process after that. So after that, so your solutions are due, as you said, on the 15th at 11:59 p.m. You turn those in earlier. After that, our communities will have time to review them. They have asked for more time than they had in the past, which was usually like a couple of hours. So they've got a couple of days now to really digest what you've provided them. They'll set up some maybe consultation time with you, kind of reverse the script from what you're going to do this afternoon. So have a chance to talk to you about, hey, tell me more about this. We're really intrigued by X, Y, or Z. So kind of an interview with you. They'll judge and then submit their judging results to us before the virtual awards ceremony. In terms of like your responsibilities, you're footloose and fancy free that second week. other than we've got those continuing ed sessions, the lunch and learns, noon to 1. That's really just nothing that affects the Flipping Finance Challenge, but just, again, content we provided for you. Does that answer your question? Cool. Yes. Yeah. Yes. So other than John's, which is, as John mentioned, he's going to go, like, when we end at 2, first 12 or 15 people who are interested in learning more about pitching and selling and kind of communicating your concept out. He'll just take 12 to 15 kind of face-to-face in the back. Beyond that, yes, the ones that we're doing virtually, we'll have them all recorded. Yes, sir. That's a really good question. So I don't know if you've heard that question. Is kind of on how do the communities judge the solutions? Are they judged on uniqueness? How closely answer the question? And this may be going to turn over to our former innovators. I will say that each community, for each of their challenges, will have a scoring rubric up. And so they'll tell you, say out of 100, we're waiting for this challenge. We want, as John said, super wild. We got 50 points for uniqueness, creativity. You may have another challenge that says high implementability. We want something that we can turnkey, so it's higher on implementability. And so there's a variety of factors. I'd be curious, as participants, what you, as you've gone in the past, do you use that rubric to help guide your solution? Do you kind of back into the rubric at the end? I don't know who wants to take that to start. But
Yeah, so I think first step is looking at the rubric, but also your time with the communities will be very important for you to get a feel for what they value. That's really what the time is meant to be used for. So for me, last year when I was looking into it, I tried to steer more towards turnkey solutions, because that's just more where my mind works. But there were definitely other communities where they just wanted a really wild idea that got people excited. So based on the time and based on the rubric, you can kind of size up what kind of solution you want to present to them.
Yeah, similar to me. I think what's most helpful is when you talk with the communities themselves and ask them the questions. I think ultimately their needs are the most important, right? We're all here to help them make the most impact. So they're really the ones who you should look to see, like, okay, what's going to drive impact for them, and focus on those areas. So it's super unique to each specific track, to each specific challenge that you're looking at.
Yeah, and I would say for me, it's a little bit of a mix of both, like thinking about unique stuff, but understanding what's the root cause of the problem. But you also have to remember that these communities, they don't have big budgets, so you got to really think about feasibility and just telling that story about how they could implement your unique solution with feasibility. So that'd be my advice.
So just on the judging criteria, for those who are looking for it, so on our website, I'm just going to take you through it from the beginning. Here's the FFC site. You want to scroll down to our individual challenge cards. Once it flips over, you can click on the link. And over here on the side, there's a downloaded PDF with more information. And so each challenge has its own rubric for the most part. Some of the communities decided to just do a blanket one. But either way, if you're looking at the scoring criteria, that's how you can find it. And if you're having trouble getting to the site, just let me know. But it is different for each one. So depending on which challenge, you just want to make sure to kind of customize your solution, knowing that the points will be spread out differently. So that's really all I had.
Okay, sure, I can start. So I think when you have that conversation with them and when you sit down and just listen to sort of what's going on with their community, I think generally whenever I try and get at like, okay, what's the biggest sort of problem, is asking them as many questions of like, you know, what have you tried? What are some of the trends? I'm really into data, so typically for any of these sorts of challenges, if there's any sort of data piece that I can look at, then I'll usually do that myself first to just try and get a sense of like, okay, what's going on here kind of at a high level. And once I kind of spot general trends, general high level things that stand out to me, I'll usually go towards those things that I notice, I guess, in my own analysis. Again, that's more of a personality thing because I'm kind of in the world of data, but I think that's typically what I try and do is I try and talk to them and really listen to, you know, of all of these different things. What are the things that you've tried? Of the analysis that I've done, poking into specific questions to whatever those areas are. It's super broad, but hopefully that's helpful.
I think for me, it's asking them what does success look like. Just kind of probing out at that, because if you can kind of get at to what they think success looks like, you can start to build a program to accomplish that.
Yeah, I think just from my experience, it's a little bit tough dealing with them because they have so many problems, and it's just kind of they just kind of lay all of their problems out there. And so I think the more that you can kind of try and piece together the puzzle of what overlaps, and if you can figure out what overlaps, then you can start designing a solution that can have multiple benefits. But yeah, you definitely can't solve all of their problems in one solution. So.
Thank you, Pete. So the question was just the results. What do the communities and the challenge owners do with the solutions? And I think for Jasper and Jay, they would love to have that conversation if you had happened to work on one of their challenges in previous years. What happened with those? And that's one of the things we want to be better about tracking is the outcomes. And we've encouraged each of the communities, I should say, in addition to the two $500 prizes they'll each have to award, we've encouraged each of them to consider inviting the teams who work on their challenges out to visit them. Because I don't know if before this event you knew where Jay County was, or the city of Jasper, the town of Winfield, but there's something about being on the ground. And sometimes that solution you come up with today, you walk the streets of Jasper and something may click, right? And that may take that solution to the next level after this event. And those connections will continue. And so I think we've really encouraged them of have these teams out to town hall, city council meetings, something, recognize them and continue to build those bonds between the teams and the communities, because they don't have access to a Flipping Finance Challenge, to this kind of talent on a regular basis. And so we certainly don't require them to take everything they have and implement it, but we certainly know that they do, and they have taken bits and pieces over the years and moved them forward. Yes. How do you share your presentations? Brian, you want me to toss over to you for that?
So I did want to address the two deliverables, and I'll just go ahead and do this now. So I think I've already heard this mentioned. I stepped out for a second, but two deliverables for this event to the bond bank team. The first is Monday night, and that is a team and challenge selection, or if you're working as an individual, same thing. We need to know who's going to be working on what. Gives us an idea, and we can relay back to the communities what challenges are being worked on. So just a quick quick form. Set the link in the attendee guide on the website as well. Has everyone been to the website and seen it? I'm not sure how hands-on I need to be with kind of going through that. Okay, looks like most people have. So that's the first thing due on Monday. And then the second one is the solutions due on Friday. We already talked about the time. And this is an online form submission as well. Both of these links are up and live on the attendees guide. So feel free, again, to just go to our website, click that attendees guide, and you should find it there. It's through a service called JotForm. Real easy. I'll mention this here too. So you have the opportunity to submit your resume to those sponsoring organizations that we mentioned earlier. That's going to be part of that upload as well. You can just drop all of your resumes in there for the team. If you have any issues with that, just let me know. But we've tested it and it seems to be working pretty well. So answer the question. I can't even remember who asked it now. Yep, thought so. Okay, good. Cool. Yeah, I guess so. I think we've actually covered most of it. Mark covered the workshops. Monday, Indie Design Collaboratives hosting our first one. If you haven't had the experience to meet the Indie Design Collaborative group, I work on their board. They're the folks that bring you Indie Design Week every year. Super talented folks that are going to help with the ideating process. So if on Monday morning you're kind of stuck and not sure how you're going to go at these solutions, this is going to help get your gears turning. And then as Mark mentioned, just Monday through Friday, 12 to 1, always with a virtual component. Working back through my deck. What's next? Let's see. I think I missed the opportunity to make a joke about being the last person to keep you from lunch, so insert that joke here. Consultation with the challenge owners. So I think by now it probably makes sense what you're looking to do with the communities, to ask some of the questions that Matt, Ingrid, and Rob already mentioned. So 3 of those, four actually, are going to be back in the library. So you're going to have the town of Winfield, Jasper, IECC, and Maverick in the library, and then Jay County's going to be up here. So I haven't seen the sign-up sheets, so I don't know if they've actually been used, but you can sign up for a time. But we will release for lunch, so just depending on when your time slot is, lunch might be a little staggered. There are tables here on the right, which you would have seen, and then we have opened up a gallery down here on the left for you to eat lunch at too. So that's what's next. And John mentioned his workshop following 2 p.m. Is that right?
After 2 p.m. There's also a sign-up sheet because that's a space-limited thing. So it's I think it's in pink or a different piece of paper color out there if you're interested in John's pitching. Gina, you had a question?
Yeah, let's see. So we are actually going to send out calendar invites to everyone who registered. So you should be getting that, and each one will contain the link to a Zoom session or whatever it might be that's hosting it, the Teams, whatever it is.
You're asking about the Lunch and Learn or the webinars? Yeah, the Lunch and Learn webinars, yes. Yeah, if you're old-fashioned like me and use like the Outlook calendar or Gmail calendar, we'll just put you all on the calendar invite. It won't hurt our feelings if you decline them, but it's I don't know, they're also in Slack. It's like, just invite everybody, and it'll be on your calendar then with the Zoom link, and if you come, that'd be lovely.
We talked about the scoring a little bit on the solutions. Does it make sense how these prizes are going to be awarded? So each challenge track owner is going to pick 2 top solutions from all submissions. So that's going to, if they have 4 or 5 challenges, they don't have to pick one from each. It's going to be out of all the combined solutions that they got. And then the Treasurer of State will do a best in show out of those 10. Those 10 will receive $500 in cash prizes as well. And that will become announced on Saturday, April something, 23rd? Yeah, April 23rd. Does that make sense? Great. Not sure if I have anything else.
Let's do lunch. I think the community, I saw the communities, if I can peek through the glass here, they're at least settled and out library where they need to be. So feel free to get up and collar one of us if you need us. But otherwise, good luck and thank you.